My name is Miss Lois, and I'm going to read you a story about the Williams sisters, who were very good at tennis. They were champions. On a crumbling court in Compton, 5 sisters dodged, they dove, they pumped their fist as they shouted the score. The Williams sisters were inseparable, all 5 of them. Every morning, Yatunde, Isha, Lindrea, Venus, and little Serena piled into a dirty yellow Volkswagen that coughed and clanked its way to the tennis court. Under their father's watchful eye, they played, serving and sprinting and lunging and laughing, swinging rackets that were bigger than they were. Tennis let them all be together. At the end of each day, they collapsed into bed so sweaty that the sheets stuck to their skin. Serena often crawled into Venus's bed and fell asleep with her head on her big sister's shoulder. "I'm going to be the best in the world one day," Serena whispered sleepily. Venus grinned at her. "You'll have to go through me first, Mika," she said. One by one, the older Williams sisters set down their rackets until only Venus and Serena were left. Because they didn't belong to cushy country clubs or have world-class coaches, they had to be creative about their training. And they did whatever it took to have the strongest arms, the fastest feet, the smartest strategy, and the most graceful moves. In California in 1989, soon Venus and Serena were ready to play in tournaments. They knew they had to face off eventually, but they didn't expect it to happen in their very first tournament together. Venus and Serena found themselves head to head in the finals. "Pow!" Venus served. "Bam!" Serena returned. "Thwack!" Venus struck. "Blam!" Serena swung with all her might, but she missed. Venus won. She grinned for the camera, but then she noticed her sister sitting quietly on the sidelines. "Hey, Serena," Venus said when they got home. "Let's switch trophies. I like the silver one better anyway." "Really?" asked Serena, eyes wide. Venus nodded. Serena held the gold trophy in her arms, and then she held her sister tighter. In California in 1991, unfortunately, the Williams sisters were about to be split up. Venus and Serena had learned everything they could in Compton, California. They needed to move to Florida to attend elite tennis academy if they wanted to keep getting better. Once they got there, one thing became obvious. Venus was going to be the best in the world. Spectators told her father, "You have a legend on your hands." Every time someone complimented Venus, Serena turned red. "What about me?" Venus knew that her sister always had greatness in her. "Don't try to play like me, Serena," she said. "You have to play like yourself." Serena took her big sister's advice, and the two got better and better and better. Venus turned pro in 1994 when she was just 14 years old. Serena followed close on her sister's heels 1 year later. They began winning tournaments worldwide. They crushed the competition in Chicago. They mopped up their opponents in Moscow. They played powerfully in Paris. And soon their names were on everyone's lips. But despite all their trophies and success, the sisters faced challenges on the court and off. They were 2 of the strongest and most successful athletes in the world, but they were also Black. Journalists sometimes referred to them as gorillas, and their wealthy white competitors accused them of cheating. There was no way 2 Black girls from Compton could be this good at tennis, but the sisters ignored them, focusing on giving every match their all. Indian Wells 2001. In one of their favorite tournaments, Venus had to withdraw because of an injury. Serena hugged her sister tight and said, "I'll play hard enough for the both of us." She raced out, ready to win. But as soon as she stepped onto the court, the crowd erupted into cheers and boos. They screamed terrible racist things at both sisters and their dad. Even after she won, Serena broke down in tears, shaking in anger and pain. "I'm never coming back here," Serena said. "And neither am I," said Venus. As always, the girls stood together and fought together and won together. Venus and Serena were soon on top of the world. That world was about to come crashing down. Their big sister, Utunde, was shot and killed in Compton, near the crumbling forts where all used to play. 4 sisters, Isha, Landrea, Venus, and Serena, gathered in California to be together. "It's okay to cry," said Venus, but Serena couldn't. Crying would make Yotunde's death real. Venus was heartbroken. Seeing her little sister in so much pain made her feel worse. She'd always been the role model, the leader, the protector. She'd always known what to do. And now she felt powerless. Next few years were the most difficult they had ever faced. Venus and Serena, once inseparable, drifted apart. To make matters worse, the doctors gave Venus a difficult diagnosis. She had Sjogren's syndrome, a disease that sometimes made her too exhausted to get out of bed, let alone play tennis. Venus and Serena thought about walking away from tennis for good. They'd already accomplished the unimaginable, like becoming the first sisters ever to be ranked number 1 and number 2 in the world. They'd already made their family proud by standing up against racism and for women's equality. What was the point of playing tennis anymore? Maybe this was the end of their story. But then they asked themselves, what would Utunde want? Deep down, Venus and Serena knew that they weren't done yet. The Williams sisters still had work to do. So the sisters slowly picked each other back up. Venus cheered for Serena at all her matches. Whenever she was losing, Venus cheered even harder. Soon Serena was playing better than ever. Her ranking had fallen to 139 by 2006. But in 2008, she was back at number 1. Even when her ranking fell from the top spot, Serena was the undisputed best player in the world. Serena stayed by her big sister's side as Venus battled Sjogren's. When Venus was too tired to leave the house, Serena squeezed her hand and said, "Don't you dare give up." Soon Venus felt strong enough to return to the court. And not just to return, but to win. Sisters were once again at the peak of the tennis world. They dominated the biggest tournaments, won Olympic gold medals, and soared to the top of the rankings. And when they teamed up to play doubles, they were truly unstoppable. Both women were in their 30s, an age when most tennis players retire. But the fire that began when they were children only grew stronger, and they played harder than ever. Throughout their careers, Venus and Serena thought about the place where their tennis careers had begun. In 2016, they returned to their crumbling courts in Compton, and they fixed all the cracks. They opened tennis camps, organized tennis clinics, and hired the best coaches in California to teach kids how to love tennis as much as they did. Today, those courts are called the Venus and Serena Williams Court of Champions. At the grand opening of the Court of Champions, Venus and Serena couldn't stop grinning. They watched siblings pick up rackets for the first time, and they watched families heal. Sisters also founded the Yotunde Price Resource Center to help victims of violence. No one should ever lose a sister the way they lost Yotunde. To this day, Serena keeps a trophy on her bedside table. It's more precious than Olympic gold or any Grand Slam championship cup. It's the trophy that Venus gave her after their first tournament. Serena looks at it every night before she goes to sleep, as it reminds her of one very important thing. Sisters are all you need.